The man put his hand through the door. It went through, and then it popped back up like a balloon. He grasped it with an extended hand, twisted it gently, and the door was opened. Is he the real Luffy? The man's name is Richard. In search of the secret of human genes, he and his teammates went to space. He was about to conduct a secret experiment, but everyone was hit by a cloud. But what they don't know is that they already have superpowers. When Richard returned to Earth, he had dinner with Sue as usual. They quarreled again, and Sue went straight to transparency. She knocks the bottle over at the sight of her invisible hand, and Richard reaches for it faster than Luffy can. When Johnny comes, he has the ability to release fire. Although it was only the effect of a lighter, it still made him excited, and they immediately deduced that it was radiation from a strange cloud. They went to find another teammate, Ben. He's mutated, and he's even collapsed the bed. Using his powers, Richard reaches in and opens the door, but Ben is gone. When the boss, Victor, came to check on the situation, it seemed that he was the only one who looked normal. Ben escaped to find his wife, but the wife saw his appearance, scared to turn around and run. Ben mutated into a stone man. Ben, who lost his wife, was sitting on the bridge thinking about life when a man who wanted to kill himself came to him. Ben advised him to cherish life. When a man saw him, he was scared and didn't want to kill himself. He fell off a bridge, and the truck was about to crush the man into meat. Ben crashed into the truck, forcing it to a halt. Even though he saved a miner, he still caused a pileup. The onlookers were horrified at his appearance. When the team arrived, the gas tank exploded. Johnny rushed in time to save a little girl from the flames. Sue releases the shield to stop the explosion, and the fire truck is about to fall into the river. Ben pulled on the front of the car, but a fireman slipped. Just as he fell, a pair of hands grabbed him. It was Richard's rubbery hands that pulled the fireman to his feet. Ben eventually tows the fire truck back to the road, and they become heroes, and the crowd nicknames them the Fantastic Four. To find out, Richard takes them back to his lab. A flame rose from the man's hand. A wave of the palm of his hand. His whole body burned, an instant incarnation of the flame messenger. The temperature continued to rise. Peter looked at the value that was about to explode and quickly pressed the cooling button. And the cooling experiment chamber was already melted by the high temperature. Not only was Ben's body turned to stone, but his internal organs were also petrified. Yet the indicators were completely fine. Sue can be invisible, but her powers are controlled by her emotions and only become transparent when she is angry. Richard has the ability to transform his body at will. Like rubber, he designed special costumes for his teammates to suit their powers. Even if it burns, the clothes will not tear. The next thing is to find a way to get them back to normal. They have superpowers, cannot travel freely. As long as they appear, will be surrounded by the crowd. Johnny couldn't stand it, so he stayed at home while his teammates weren't looking, and he got into his sports car and slipped out for a motorcycle race. They accidentally let off fire and went on TV. When his teammates saw him, he was calling the 3 names and making fun of Ben's appearance. When he came to Johnny, Ben crumpled his sports car into a ball of iron. They used their powers to start a fight, which is eventually stopped by Sue and Richard. Ben was so angry that he turned around and went to the bar to drown his sorrows. But he also broke the chair, and all this was seen by the boss Victor. He was also affected by the cloud began to mutate, and his body gradually turned into a metal, which can absorb electrical energy in the body. He had invested all his money in Richard's research, and when it failed, he faced bankruptcy. Victor hated him, but watching the Fantastic Four become heroes, he became angry and decided to take revenge. He kept his powers secret, killed a doctor to hide the truth, and then killed a board member. Armed to destroy the Fantastic Four, Victor finds Ben first. He began to sow discord, telling him that Richard root Ben did not want him to turn back. Angry, Ben returns to the lab and attacks Richard without hesitation. Who wins a fight between rubber and stone? The tangle, Ben throws Richard out, and Richard uses his flexibility to wrap himself around Ben again, tying him up. Ben eventually calmed down and left the lab. Richard decided to do the experiment on his own. He went into the lab, but the experiment failed because the instrument lacked power. Richard's body began to sag. He told Sue that he needed more power to make the experiment work. Victor saw what was happening through his surveillance camera, and he figured it out. He calls Ben and says he has an idea that will help him recover. Ben believed him and went into the lab. Victor uses his own electricity to charge the instrument. In a blast of radiation, Victor put his hand in. This time it worked, and Ben returned to his human form. But this is Victor's trap. Ben's powers have been absorbed by Victor. One punch sent Ben flying when he was human again. Richard tries to save Ben, who is hit by Victor and falls out of the window. That's how Richard was taken away and put on ice. The next target is Johnny. Victor picks up the thermal missile and walks it directly on Johnny. In the moment of crisis, Johnny flies up and draws the missile to the surface, but he is hit and falls into the water. When Sue finds out Richard has been taken away, she uses her invisibility to sneak into Victor's house and uncuff Richard. But Victor had already found him. In the face of absolute power, invisibility is nothing. At the critical moment, Benji appeared. In order to save his teammates, he once again entered the machine and turned into a stone. But Victor, with his fusion skills, couldn't resist. Just as Victor was about to do it, Sue stopped him. Johnny's coming too. Peter used his shape-shifting powers to trap Victor. Johnny took the opportunity to rush. That heat, a huge wall of fire surrounded Victor. Sue forms a shield to enclose the flame, preventing the heat from melting the surrounding area. The fire ended, but Victor wasn't melted. At that crucial moment, Ben kicked the fire hydrant and sprayed Victor with a spray gun. As the water cooled, Victor turned into a nail statue. They also succeeded in saving the Earth. Astic for, so why is it in this story there are 5 people who have superpowers because of metamorphosis? But why are they called the Magic Four? Because the 5th is the bad guy. He is destined to be discriminated against, to be erased from his name. However, the crisis is not being resolved. And what will the Fantastic Four do next to save the Earth? I'll see you next time.